to build a boat. This project, and indeed this whole video, is essentially me making the best of a slightly bad situation. A few weeks ago I was looking around on eBay for some cheap servos just so I could mess around more with outweight weapons, and I thought I'd found the perfect deal in 10 of these SG90 servos for just 16 British pounds. £1.60 a servo was something I could not turn down. Turns out, I should have looked at that listing a little bit longer, because it turns out they're actually continuous rotation servos, which have their uses, but aren't really what I was looking for. I have, however, been playing around quite a lot with servo hacking anyway, so I had some ideas of what I could do, and this is one of those things. My overall goal with these, really, is to see what uber cheap amp weight I can build. I think I can do an amp weight build comfortably below £15, obviously not including expensive transmitters and things. For now, however, I don't have anything that can act as wheels. That's my main issue right now. So instead, just so I can get used to the mixing, which has already been a nightmare, and see what sort of things these are capable of, I thought I would instead build myself a little boat. Why a boat? Well, I live next to some water, basically. So here is the plan. This kind of wiring loom just basically comes out of an old project. Battery, Beck, receiver, 2 servos. That's the easy part. The hard part is going to be making this move. I've got a nice box here. This is just an old takeaway container, which I'm fairly certain a good bead of hot glue will seal up very nicely. It's got more than enough room inside for electronics. I do worry that it's going to sit very high in the water, so I might actually need to weigh it down. And my other plan as well, just thinking about, I mean, these servos aren't exactly powerful. Let's give you a quick demo of their speed and power. Oh yeah. They're not the most powerful things, so I do wonder as well if I actually need to think about the hydrodynamics of this. Think about maybe sort of boat-like front. But the plan, very simply, I am not going to use anything more complex than hot glue. It's going to be the 2 servos on top. Let's get them the right way round, Ryan. Come on. Think about this properly. You're a professional. There we go. 2 servos on top, some kind of paddle wheels, and frankly quite a lot of prayer. I'm wondering if I might need, and this feels far too proper for this project, I'm also wondering if I might need underneath some kind of stabiliser, not a rudder, but some kind of stabiliser just to help it go straight. I've had a lot of fun with the mixing on here. I have got it mixed properly now, so forwards is forwards, backwards is backwards, right is right. Normally, if you just plug servos in, everything ends up on a sort of 45-degree angle, and it's not pleasant. I don't recommend it. But the trim has been tricky. So I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to get a perfectly straight line on the transmitter. Maybe some kind of stabilisation on the bottom will let it do that. So that's the plan. Because I have basically no editing prowess, the next thing you see is going to be the finished thing. If you're expecting like a whole build process, you're in the wrong place. Well, I said I wasn't going to bring sort of the camera along for the build, and boy am I glad, because it's been quite a long few hours. Not all working on this, other things happening, but here it is. Much, much larger than even I expected, but it has all of the features that I promised. It's got a nice boaty front. You can't see here, this is just a little bit of acetate, the stuff we use on the front of the amp weight wedges. Just nice and flexible, it could go around all the angles it needed to, and it's hot glued up. The whole thing is basically made of hot glue. That was easy to get watertight around there. The top, the lid has all been waterproofed as well with hot glue, and the paddle wheels. When I said about doing the whole thing with glue, that started off as a, I'm lazy, that's the way I'm definitely going to do this, and it became a manifesto. There are definitely ways I could have attached these better. One thing I could have done really simply is just done these bottle tops the other way up, slotted them, but it's on, it's fine. A few mistakes were made. You can see there's kind of, oh, that switch is, well, that's been on for a while by the looks of it. Now that shouldn't happen. Mistake number 1 that I made is that I got a little bit excited and didn't rebind the receiver before I glued the top down. If I'd rebound, all of the sort of fail-safes would have been correct and that wouldn't happen. So if this does sort of happen to get lost at sea, it's just going to go round in circles. Mistake number 2, very small thing. I forgot to put the power light in. Again, I got excited. It's fine. It would be nice to know when it's on from a distance. You know, if it ends up sort of out in the middle of the water, I'm not going to know if it's just powered down, out of signal or whatever. That would have been helpful, but the plan is for it not to get lost in the first place. The third change, not a mistake, is I've just gone for a bigger battery. This, I honestly don't know how long this would have given me. And again, it's not something where you want it to be able to just go out and run out of power on you. This is a 180 milliamp hour battery. This one I think is around 1,000. It's also a little bit more ballast. It's got it sitting lower. I did at one point add ballast. I added a big box of nuts and bolts. It was a little bit too much. I had it positioned right at the back because I wanted to keep the front out of the water if possible. And it did mean that when I put it in water, it was creeping up towards here. It would probably be fine now I've waterproofed it, but I'd rather not be relying on that waterproofing. In terms of speed, as you saw from when I turned it on, these servos are not slow. And I have done a little bit of test just in a bit of water outside, and this thing is pretty quick. So, we'll give it a test. I don't know what to expect, but something interesting should happen. Situation report. I've arrived at the lake. I've set up my phone far closer to the edge of the lake than I am comfortable with. Power is on. Things are moving. I've had a little look at this. It doesn't look that deep, but this is probably a good time to mention that I can't swim. And if this gets stuck somewhere, I'm not sure it's ever coming back. So, camera view be damned for a moment. And we're away. Oh, that is genuinely as far as I dare go. This is a lake, by the way, so I don't have to worry about any currents taking it, but that doesn't mean it can't just get stuck. Look at it go! Note to self, if you're going to do a little spin, at least do it in view of the camera. There we go. What an absolute triumph of engineering. When boggle boats. I'm so impressed by how much control I have right now. I was expecting this to be really tricky. I know, as I think I said before, the trim isn't quite set correctly, but it just doesn't seem to mind. So that left drive paddle is worrying me. I don't know if it was that off-centre before I started, but it's sure off-centre now. Should I try reverse? Oh yeah, that starts dive bombing. I don't like that. It's even, I don't know if you'll be able to pick this up, but there's like a lovely little sound of water dripping as well that is genuinely quite peaceful. Well, I'm not going to push my luck any longer. Let's get this thing out. Don't fall in on camera, Ryan. That is the look of victory right there. That went well. That went incredibly well. I genuinely can't find a fault with what I've built. That's a quite uncomfortable feeling for me. Obviously, I can't get a proper check inside, but as far as I can tell, no water has got in. Some water got on top, but completely unintentionally, this provided a really nice barrier that stopped anything kind of flowing through anywhere near the sort of switch hole, which is the only bit that's not really properly watertight. I could maybe do a little kind of flood barrier around there, but it's handled itself so nicely, I'm not sure that I really need to worry about it. Plus, I'm literally never going to use this again, so, you know. The paddle wheels, super effective. I was worried they weren't going to be sitting deep enough to really give it much speed, but it goes. It goes straight without... I was thinking about the stabiliser, didn't need it. Yeah, absolutely blown away. I didn't get too brave. I didn't let it go too far away. That's just because I don't want to lose it, really, because it's doing really well. And it's, you know, like, originally I said it's going to be about £15 worth of parts. That battery is almost doubled that, but that's fine. Yeah, I could sit here and ramble for a long time, but this is an absolute spinner-proof success. And I may or may not play with it some more now. God! Good enough. Sat here by a lake on a rock that is coated in the dried and in some places wet droppings of geese and ducks. There are what I can only assume to be rats literally running around beneath my feet, and still I am having the loveliest time. Everyone should build a boat.